Hello and welcome to the Australian Gamer Show. I'm Matt.
And I'm Yug.
Tonight we're going to be talking about, oh my god, Duke Nukem Forever.
Oh my god. Sorry. Oddworld Stranger's Wrath on the PS3.
New iPhone update, adding gaming.
PS3 mod chip banned. I wonder why.
Yeah, possibly because of its mild violation of Australian law.
There would have been that. I don't quite understand that, actually, how the people can justifiably say, no, it's not fair. We use mod chips for homegrown and homebrew applications that use the system, use the console as it should be used, and it's not our fault if Microsoft or Sony don't release a software that doesn't do what we want.
That was long.
That was a bit.
Yeah, I get that, but there's also the question of when you own some shit, do you actually own it or not? If it's illegal to pirate games, that's one thing. That's fine. That should be illegal.
Yes.
But is the mod chip itself, should that be illegal?
Well, this comes back to even like to file sharing and stuff like that. MP3s of licensed music is illegal, but file sharing programs like Napster and those kind of things weren't, or were they? I can't even remember anymore.
There were laws. There was always a question of whether these were facilitating crimes or whether they were valid and legitimate technologies.
What I'd like to know is how many people out there that do have a mod chipped gaming system, when they got their mod chip system, they're like, fantastic. Now, of course, now I have this. There is no way I'm going to pirate any games whatsoever.
Yeah,
I don't want to break the law.
I'm going to use this so I can install Linux.
I'm going to use this so my movie player can play DivXs or something. Oh, pirate it, another pirated format. Brilliant.
But not pirated ones.
No.
Ones I made myself.
Independent ones that I downloaded off this obscure website.
Yeah, I think very few.
Yeah.
But regardless, actually, I think one of the things that's most interesting about the mod chip that was sort of set up was that it wasn't a mod chip. It was actually a USB dongle. It was like a USB port thing.
This is the one relating to the PS3
yeah,
issue
yeah.
in particular.
You
right.
actually you just plugged it into the USB port, and it was configured as a router.
Oh wow!
As an internet router,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it would basically just like overload everything, and like internally the PS3 would kind of fall over, and then it would go on inside and do its thing.
Wow.
This is obviously
like a
not
virus of some sort. That's awesome.
In a sense, it used the same sort of techniques.
And that's way easier than when I had to mod my Xbox. And I did. I will say I had a modded Xbox. We had a modded Xbox, if you recall.
I actually had no ownership of said illegal
Oh,
property.
right. Okay, you just utilized the system.
I had a debug Xbox.
Really?
Yeah.
How the fuck did you get that?
Did you not know I had that?
No.
Remember Rob? Phenomenon?
Oh, yes.
He gave me an Xbox. He lent me an Xbox. It was his, and it was actually a debug one.
Wow. Okay. Well, there
so
you go.
I didn't need a mod chipped one. Is my point.
Right. Well, yeah. Anyway, I guess. Yeah,
There's
I
not
just
much
don't
to say about that. I mean, we felt that it needed to be brought up as a topic because it's been, on news.com.au and so on.
I suppose because I'm kind of interested to see, and I'm kind of interested to hear any from anyone on the forums, if they are actually trying to defend this particular action by the government. If they're like, no, this is wrong, this shouldn't be happening. Because I think both myself and Matt are like, well, tough. What's the issue?
I like that you think that all laws are the government. You have no concept of law.
What?
And you're just like, why would the government do that? What do you think of the government banning this? No, they got sued. They got stopped by Sony directly.
Oh, by Sony.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah. It's
right.
not the government. The
I don't
government
know.
doesn't give a crap about protecting Sony's property. Sony does.
Well, I don't know. Sorry, let me just rephrase it. It's the man.
The man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the machine.
Yeah.
It's keeping the hard-working pirators down.
Yeah, the man, sticking it to
Pirators?
the man.
Isn't it?
Pirates.
Pirates.
I would guess. I mean, pirates is a people. Pirating is an action. So
Yeah.
people who do the action logically are pirators.
The pirators.
Or
It just sounds
pirating
really
is-
pirators.
I think pirates. we're just gonna have to
Pirators. I don't even know what that was. Never
No,
mind.
we
Move
don't.
on.
No, I wanted to actually move on to something just a little bit different and something that we didn't write down at all. Have you been hearing much lately about people, all the different techniques people are starting to use or companies are starting to use to stop people using traded games?
Oh
Trading
yeah,
in games.
like you need to activate it once, and you get special content that can only be done online, or
Yeah. It's like Saboteur, for example. You could only get the boobies if you were the original.
see. But
owner.
I can completely understand this from a publisher and developer point of view.
Well, here's my question. Why do you not have any rights as a buyer of a game as opposed to, say, a coffee table? Like, why do you not have the right to on-sell a game, whereas...
I'd probably relate it more to DVDs and movies, like a entertainment form in that respect.
Cool,
and
fine.
Yeah, they're fine to be traded all the time or whatever. I think it's because the gaming industry is kind of struggling quite a bit these days. Unless you're a triple A.
So here's my point then. Maybe the problem isn't the pirates. Sorry, maybe the problem isn't the pre-sold games. Maybe the problem is the fucking industry. Because I've heard a few people talk about this, and they were saying, you know, companies like EB and so on, they push people towards the pre-owned games because they make more money off it.
Yes.
And a lot of people are critical of that. And fair enough, but they couldn't make any money. They couldn't actually make a profit unless they did that.
This
they
is
would
very true.
go under.
Yeah, it's fucked.
So in that case, if your business model requires that, surely the business model is fucked. Surely the whole gaming business economy is wrong and broken as a result. And we shouldn't be looking at pre-owned games as the problem, when in fact the fact that companies can't make a living without pre-owned, maybe the problem is games aren't expensive enough.
Yeah, that's definitely the problem.
No, seriously. I mean, not to that degree, but
okay.
Not to that degree, but maybe the problem is where the profits go and where the I mean, games are $100 How much money do the actual retailers make on that? I think almost none.
Yeah, look, from what I know, it is very hard for retailers to actually make a profit when they're actually selling, especially when there's like price matching and things like that with other companies that don't rely solely on selling games, like your JB Hi-Fi's and things like that. So a lot of them actually they make up for that by doing deals with publishers for special editions that can only be, gotten through EB and stuff like that. So, they do well out of that. No, I don't think they need to be more expensive, but you also do need to look at the cost of some games. It be the equivalent of like movies and things like that. And as opposed to movies where there's an initial showing in theaters and then the DVD sales, games they're only a one-hit sort of wonder.
That's not true though.
What do you mean?
Well, they re-released them in special editions. But that doesn't count. Just as DVDs doesn't count.
That's also only if a game is like really particularly successful. Whereas even the shittiest movie, and there have been quite a few, will find their way onto DVD.
Yeah.
And then you've got like other forms of revenue, like you've got, the viewing rights in public and all that kind of stuff. So
and TV rights.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas games really is just that one hit.
I get your point, but maybe again the problem is the business model itself.
Probably. I don't have a better solution though, and I don't think making games more expensive is the answer.
I just wonder, and I don't know, maybe someone can tell me this. And if anyone actually knows, if anyone's involved more in the business side of the industry, feel free to post on our forums anonymously or just send me an email or whatever. But where does the money go? From $100 game, where does the money go?
Yeah. Okay.
I'm just really interested. Like, how much does a publisher get? How much does a developer get? How much does a retailer get? How much is lost in transport?
Keep in mind, a lot of that depends on if the developer is actually owned by the publisher.
Fine, but that
they usually won't see residuals out of it, sort of thing. So actually, even most of your independents won't, because they're usually commissioned to actually make the game. So developers, as far as I know, pretty much get a set price. This is how much your budget is to make this game.
Yeah.
So the profits are actually usually made by the publisher, of course.
Yeah. So how much of that proportion is? I mean, are the retail? Because we've always talked about the with the pre-owned games that they're basically shafting developers by pushing buyers into pre-owned games where they don't get.
They're not
the money.
shafting developers; they're shafting publishers.
No, that's my point. Maybe the problem is not that. Developers are getting shafted by because that's what I've heard said. I know you're disputing that, but that's what I've heard people say. So maybe the problem is that the publishers have been shafting the consumer and the developer for so long that the model is totally unbalanced and broken.
Maybe. I also think that publishers that have a lot of games that they actually sell, they know some aren't going to do well. They know some aren't going to make their money. EA, for example, they will have some games they know they spent too much on that developer. This game will not make its money back, but it's okay because they have another Madden to release in this financial quarter or whatever sort of thing. So they justify a lot of this stuff like that. But I am of the belief that this conversation has gone on way too long.
I agree. Let's move on. Let's move on to Duke Nukem Forever.
There, see, that's lightening the tone, isn't it?
Yes. Well, yes. Duke Nukem Forever.
Yeah, I do like the fact that our podcast the last week's podcast actually came out. We recorded it the night before the Duke Nukem announcement was actually made, and yet the podcast went up online after it was announced that it's being made by Gearbox Studios.
Yeah.
Good timing on our part. But who would have thought? I mean, honestly.
Yeah.
So,
look, I have to admit, I'm not actually that up on what the status of Duke Nukem Forever actually is now, but from my understanding, people have played it and shit.
Yeah, it's been playable at PAX over the weekend. I actually had a look at some of the... Gearbox was streaming some videos which have gone around the internet and stuff like that. Had a look at it. Had a bit of a watch of it. Yeah. I think at this moment, I don't think anyone's being too overly critical. I think everyone's still just in shock.
Yeah, I know.
That it's
a game
there.
Yeah.
And not just a game, not just a screenshot, not just a brief clip, but a playable version of the game.
Yeah.
The only thing is I haven't had a chance to look into is it how much of the previous game is it utilizing? Is it just using the license? Is it did they mind you, at this point, and don't get me wrong, Gearbox software, they have a good track record, but maybe this game is just one of those things where, in 3 months' time they're saying, yeah, look, excellent, we know we showed you that version, but we're thinking of moving to this new engine that's coming out.
Suddenly this insanity will seize the developers like it's Tutankhamun's fucking mask, and they'll start deciding to do strange, batshit crazy things.
Yeah. It's that thing that, developers can't resist. It's like the Duke Nukem Forever franchise. And yet when they get it, they just go batshit crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of cool. I like that idea.
I hope that's what happens.
That would be cool.
Does it have a release date or anything? I don't think it does at this point, does it?
Yeah. Baby fucking steps, dude.
I know.
Right?
Sorry. It's a game and it's got controls now.
The release date is the same as it's always been, which is when it's done.
When it's done.
Again.
When the sun stops.
Yeah, I think I just don't think anyone's really had a chance to even start joking around about it too much, because it's just
just the gaming industry's collective gone into shock.
Yeah,
cardiac arrest.
I did watch some of the footage, and
is it gonna suck? Because I think if it's this long and it doesn't suck, there's almost something wrong.
I actually think it won't suck if it really takes the piss out of itself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, self-parody is all it's got left.
It's kind of funny because I think, for the longest time, Duke Nukem Forever had built itself up so much. But over the last, let's be honest, 4 or 5 years, it's managed to build itself down so much that the expectations that any of us have for Duke Nukem Forever are actually so low.
Yeah, that is true.
At least that's how I feel. My expectations for Duke Nukem Forever, if I can play it, success. Do you know what I mean? I'm not actually looking for a life-changing game or even a fantastic game. Just a good game. I'll be. I think I will be happy.
Speaking of games that are shit.
Yeah. Was that my cue or
no? Remember how we were talking about Vanquish last week?
Yes, you were so excited.
I downloaded the demo. Seriously, what the fuck?
I don't know what the fuck. I didn't download the demo.
It is awful.
Really?
It is so bad.
You were talking it up so much. You were so excited.
No, actually, you're thinking of Brink. That was the one I was really excited for. Vanquish was the one that I was concerned by and it looked a bit potentially dodgy. It's bizarre. There is a button for boost, which kind of makes you rocket off in a direction. And there's a button for smoke coolly.
Oh!
But no fucking jump.
Why would you need to jump when you can stand there and smoke coolly?
Well, you can
Does it actually say smoke coolly?
No, it's like smoke break. But you can only do it when you're in cover. So it's like a cover shooter where you but you can't jump, so you have to go round things.
Oh, just wait. Just to clarify, does that mean that while you're in cover, if you press a button, the character lights up?
Yeah.
And
Yep. That is exactly what it means.
does it increase your health? Does it give you?
As far as
does
I
it
can
do anything?
As far as I can tell, you get lung cancer.
Right.
I hope you get lung cancer.
It's going to be a long game
It's
if you're going
a
to
very, very long game, actually. Maybe 80 years of gameplay in that one.
Wow.
No, the
That's
doesn't
one hell of an
seem to do
achievement to
anything.
unlock.
It doesn't seem to like reduce your stress level or give you any benefit. I think it's just for the
Do you
drama.
know
of it.
what? If it did give you benefit, it probably would have been banned in Australia.
No, cigarettes and alcohol are exempt from any drug connotations as
Even
pretty
though they're
much.
drugs.
Yeah, that's
Right.
always been fairly inconsistent in Australia.
True.
I mean-
do. Yeah, it's funny. I do remember doing my responsible management of a licensed venue course. Yeah, that's me. I have that. Yeah.
Wow.
It was kind of funny. It was a 2-day course, and for half of it, they're saying, all right, now these are the ways to actually serve alcohol, and to try and entice and encourage people to have another drink or serve it like this so it looks really good and effective and all this kind of stuff. And the other side of it is, but keep in mind at all times, alcohol is a drug. And it has terrible repercussions, and you need to serve it responsibly and look out for the people and realize it's a disease and it does kill people. But serve it like this and this and this. It's like, Jesus Christ, you've got some mixed messages.
Yeah, I've always found it really strange that there's the whole RSA thing, responsible service of alcohol, and you are not allowed to serve alcohol to a person who is intoxicated.
Yeah,
but some of the people I've seen coming out of bars, I don't think it was the last drink that did the damage. Do you know what I mean? It's not like they went up to the bar and went, "Hello, Governor, I would like a brandy, please," and then were immediately smashed on that.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. For all my noble pursuits of first gaming bar in the world and very exciting and all that kind of stuff, at the end of the day, I'm just getting people drunk. I don't know if that's really the best thing to be doing. But anyway,
it's a bit weird.
I am.
Anyway, my point was...
What was your point?
My point was Vanquish is shit.
Gotcha.
And the fact that you have to jump over boxes by running up to boxes, pressing square to take cover, then pressing X to vault over them, I find incredibly ridiculous.
I probably can't jump because, it's too short of breath.
Probably.
That could be it.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, what were our other topics? You wanted to talk about Oddworld Stranger's Wrath.
Oddworld Stranger's Wrath. There was an announcement last week that it's going to be ported to the PS3 with updated graphics, support for the PlayStation Move.
Really?
Now, yeah. Now, a lot of you probably know Oddworld or Abe's Odyssey and things like that. Stranger's Wrath was the last one that came out on the original Xbox, and it kind of flew under the radar just because it was a bit weird. It didn't actually feature Abe or any of those characters, and it didn't do very well commercially.
But it had... What was his name?
Stranger.
That was his name?
Yes.
Cool.
Pretty sure. And he was a undefinable thing.
Yeah.
He looked like a cross between a lion and...
Like an eagle as well.
Yeah, just weird looking. And not only that, but as you progress through the game, I don't want to give away any spoilers, but he became even weirder.
Cool.
Yeah. It was... I played through it and I reviewed it. Read my review on Australian Gamer, actually, because I loved the fuck out of that game. It was awesome. And it did a lot of things which have been copied by games today. And it had a brilliant... Oh God, I hate saying twist, but the whole game completely changed about halfway through it. And it was awesome.
I think one thing I really liked about it was, and I know this has been done since, but it was the first time I ever saw it done, was... just these clever systems of canyons that you ran through, and they were actually loading screens, but they just kind of obscured the rest of the game, level.
Right. Yeah,
they obscured the rest of the level to the point where it could load in the background while it just sort of handled this sort of lower res section. And I thought that was really clever use of that sort of system.
It also had a system where your weapon was you used live ammunition.
That's right.
Yeah. So your main weapon was a crossbow, and you could load up 2 little critters at the same time, and all these critters had different capabilities and things that they actually did. And it was just cool. So you're running around like in first-person mode with these 2 little furry things sitting on your crossbow, looking at you and growling, and it was just amazingly clever. And I really hope that once it comes out on the PS3, and it's downloadable only, so it'll be a PSN. That I really hope more people pick it up, because I just loved the creativity behind the Oddworld world as well.
More
The
or less
universe they
everything
created.
they did,
I think they fucked up on the one that came out in the 360, Munch's Odyssey.
Right.
I think they dropped the ball a lot on that one.
Okay.
I think it may have been rushed as a launch title, but yeah, Oddworld is just.
Do you
phenomenal.
have an ETA on that, by the way? I think it was just recently kind of announced. Wasn't it? We don't really.
I think Q1 next year.
Right.
So yeah.
The only other topic we've really got is kind of a bit of a short one, which is that there was a big update to the
iPhone.
Well, actually, I was going to say there was a big update to the iTunes Music Store recently that added a new feature called Ping, which is a social media network.
Oh yeah, that's right. I saw
um,
Jobby talking about that.
Yeah, he's not that impressed.
Because that's what we need, isn't it? Another social networking medium.
Yeah, well, this one is basically it's essentially iPhone based, and it talks to. I haven't used it because honestly I don't give a shit. But apparently one thing it does that's highly offensive is that it recommends Katy Perry to you, regardless of your actual preferences. Like,
is this actually a research fact or just something that you?
No. This was something I was reading. A guy was saying that he put in his 3 favorite genres as, I think it was singer-songwriter, heavy metal, and something similar like that, and he got recommended Katy Perry. It apparently, regardless of what your genre preferences are, it picks what it decides it wants to sell you instead.
Right. Okay.
Not
as clever and effective.
Immediately attacked by spam. Apparently, within a day, it was just unusable because of they put no precautions in. Ben Folds had his identity taken by someone else within a day.
Well, yeah,
because there's no system of verification of
established artists and
so on. So,
oh damn, we could have been anyone we wanted.
I know, we missed the opportunity.
Who would you want to be if you could be anyone on? If you could pretend to be a famous musician on iTunes, who would you want to be?
I would pick Kanye West just because all of the jokes he could make, like I'm gonna let you finish kind of jokes. Just all the time, that would be all I would do. Anytime anyone started doing or saying anything, I'd be like, I'm gonna let you finish. But that would be my choice. But anyway, following on from that, they've done an update to the iPhone 4 to the iPhone OS 4 recently, which adds a new thing called Game Center, I think it is, which is essentially an in Apple replacement for things like OpenFaint and that kind of thing. These sort of iPhone-based social networks that handle things like achievements and that kind of thing, high scores,
right? Okay.
Ladders and communication with friends and that kind of stuff. So it looks like Apple is going to essentially take over that sphere because it's the official Apple thing. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that.
Well, I'd imagine initially all your iPhone game developers will probably do an update to take advantage of that particular software.
Ones that are using things
is this the kind of thing that it obviously requires you to sign up with an account, and is that that social media account? Is this a way for Apple to try and convince us to actually join this social media network in order to take advantage of these capabilities?
Don't think it's related to Ping.
Okay.
I think it probably would just use your already existing iTunes account. So it would probably be a fairly minimal barrier to entry.
Okay.
But yeah, to be honest, I haven't used it yet. I'm interested. I've actually got it ready to download now, and we'll give it a look. But I also wanted to bring up, while we're talking about the iPhone, I actually got an iPhone 4 recently, and I happened to download a Mirror's Edge for the iPhone. It's not one of the cheaper titles. It's $6, I think.
Sure.
But for a game, that's pretty good. For an iPhone game, it's a lot, but for a game, it's really cheap. And I have to say, absolutely amazing. It is just unbelievably good.
Because here's the thing. I was actually, last night, as a matter of fact, every so often I can't sleep, and I'll read a book, or I'll play games on the iPhone, or I'll look around, I'll download just random games, and it's like, is this any good? No, it's shit. I looked at Mirror's Edge, and EA tend to release a lot of very graphically intensive, quite impressive games on the iPhone. And I looked at Mirror's Edge, and I'm like, yeah, it looks like a side-scrolling platformer of some sort. I don't know.
Yeah, well, if you're out there thinking, oh, I don't know, especially if you've got an iPhone 4 because it looks just amazing on the iPhone 4.
Just curious, does it not look as good on?
Well, it's a much higher resolution screen. The
Okay.
iPhone 4 is 960 by 480 or something like that, by comparison to the 480 by 320 or something for the.
Yep. Okay.
So yeah, it is significantly higher resolution. My only concern is that I don't know how well it would run on a 3G as opposed to the 3GS because they're a little older.
Tell
and
me
slower.
about the game itself, not so much.
It's basically, if you can imagine something like Cannibal,
yeah.
but like dialed up a lot, graphically really good, 3D.
Yeah.
But you can stop, you can turn around, and one thing I really like about it is the control is extremely intuitive because it's basically once you slash in direction to make her run that direction.
Yep.
You can stop and turn around by tapping or slashing the other way.
Mm-hmm.
And once she's running, she just keeps running until you tell her otherwise. So any other commands you do are just to slash up to jump and slash down to slide.
Okay, that's clever.
Yeah, and it works really well because there is such minimal input required. It's just the timing of that input.
Which is the best iPhone games tend to do that. So.
Yeah, and it's funny because the same day I downloaded and played R-Type as well.
Yeah, I saw that one as well. But then I looked at how it controls, and I don't like it.
It is fucking unplayable. It is just appalling. I love that game, but there are so many other ways to play it.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Well, I mean, this has been a big problem with a lot of iPhone games that try and emulate old school or existing
I know,
games.
the iPhone,
they have to make a fake up, down, left, right pad and fake buttons, which aren't tangible.
No.
And you just almost unusable. So
I know the iPhone is selling itself as a games platform, and to some degree it does that well. But there are certain genres that it simply cannot do because you need buttons. And even when they fake the buttons,
yeah,
it often just doesn't work that well, especially when you need a degree of either feedback or precision in the buttons.
Yep.
If they came out with a little add-on that, slotted on the bottom and gave you some buttons,
that would be cool.
That would be fantastic.
But I don't see that.
No, because they like the whole, look, it's sleek, it does everything you want.
It's
anyway, but the point there is that Mirror's Edge is really, really good. The combat is actually better than the iPhone, than the full version of the game.
That's not hard, though. Let's be honest.
No, it's not. But it's interesting that in some ways what they got really right in this is what they didn't get right in the actual game, which is that there are long periods where you do nothing but run and slide and jump and slide and leap up and slide
and fun.
Run. And that's what the game was so good at.
Yeah.
But it felt the need for some reason to break it up with these sections and bits of combat where things got or bits of movement where things got kind of suddenly curly and confusing and so on. And they didn't do that in this. And the other thing they got right is the combat, which is really fun. It's basically just you can slide, which is just down.
Yeah.
Or you can jump, and if you jump and and slash towards something while you're in the air, you do a flying kick at it.
Hey, there we go.
And it's really simple.
It's kind of funny because the most fun I had with the original Mirror's Edge was months after the game actually came out, and I hadn't played it in ages. I really liked it, but I got to a point quite a few hours into it where I'm like, this combat's just kind of shitting me. It's starting to get really hard now, and not so much as in the running puzzles hard, but the combat, that split second. A lot of the interactions are just shit me off. But months after that, I actually went to a mate's place down in Sydney, and we got exceptionally drunk over the course of a couple of days. And all we did the entire time was play cards and play the Mirror's Edge, the speed runs, which was awesome.
Yeah,
so much fun.
To be honest, I haven't really played them, but I've heard good things.
Yeah, it was great.
The system is such an effective and interesting mechanic, and it's not something we've seen anywhere else. And that's partly why I'm interested in Brink, is because it's more or less the same movement system, but with guns. Woo!
There we go. Cool. Well, yeah, we're pretty much done.
I think we are done.
I'm going to make a announcement.
Do I know what this is going to be? Is this going to scare the crap out of me?
No, you don't really know. Kinda, yeah. Next week, we've managed to, ever so slowly over the last couple of months, I do apologise, we've managed to actually make it, this week, this podcast right now is Australian Gamer Podcast number 199.
It is indeed.
Yeah. Wow.
So the next one...
Do you realize that means we've been doing this for, and taking into account the many weeks that we have not done podcasts, we've been doing this for probably close to 5 years now.
Yeah, I know. Believe me, I'm very fucking aware of this.
That's half a decade, Matt.
Don't put it in that kind of context, dude. I do not need to know. It's like when you type /played into World of Warcraft. Some things you do not need to think about as real numbers.
So yeah, next week, and you may notice that we are starting to get back to a proper schedule of doing podcasts. Yep. Next week will be podcast number 200.
Yeah, now this is a momentous occasion that we're going to celebrate in an as yet undisclosed manner.
Yes, okay.
I'm not trying to keep a secret. You're looking at me like I've got a secret that I'm keeping. I'm trying to keep secret the fact that I have no fucking idea what we're going to do next.
Look, we were just talking about this before this podcast. We're like, okay, what are we going to do for podcast number 200? I mean, there's a lot of people that have been on the podcast over the last couple of years. We could bring them back.
Yeah. We could do a special Friends of AG podcast.
There we go. Yeah.
We could sing. We could just get on and sing. We could get naked. We could do a naked podcast. No.
We'll make an announcement on Australian Gamer at some. Well, no, we won't.
If you have a good idea, also jump on the forums and
my
thoughts.
thoughts was actually to do a live podcast at the Manor Bar next week.
Yeah, I do approve of that idea.
Yeah, I think
we can have another mic set up and.
Well, yeah, because there's already a wireless mic there. So if we got 2 wireless mics,
let's see what we can do from a technical point of view first.
Okay, you're right. Let's not jump the gun here.
But yeah, we'll have the mics and we'll have it set up, and people will be able to just jump in and out. Will people be able to hear? Will we be able to record ourselves? Let's talk about this when we're not.
We probably
doing a
should,
podcast.
shouldn't we? But we'll keep you all in the loop, and if we do have that, please, by all means, come on down. We will invite you to our special podcast party.
Come to the podcast. Yeah, come to the Manor Bar on next Friday night.
Friday night.
So no,
Jesus
Thursday
Christ.
night. When are you?
I will have
a
think about it.
Have a think about it.
I'll get right back to you on
that. There was one other last thing I wanted to say before we go, which is that I forgot to say last week, but my laptop died quite a while ago, and I wanted to thank Scarecrow, our friend and forumer Scarecrow, for the extremely generous lend of a laptop that's let me and Guy do 2 podcasts now, and Talia do one, and so on. Me and Yug, sorry. It's been a really big help, and I really appreciate that.
Awesome. Good stuff.
Thank you, Scarecrow. You are a lovely, pretty man.
Awesome. All right.
See you later, guys.
See you next week.